when I first started, writing about politics, I was part of the liberal blogosphere. And I believed the whole bullshit about how Democrats are basically good people. They just needed some spine, like stiffening, like they're stiffening their spine, that whole like jellicoe shit.
Yes.
And then like the more I watched the Democratic Party, the more I realized like what bullshit that was, right? But then I still thought, well, the way to change that is by supporting insurgents. And for a while, I actually believed that. And I listened to this story in 2018. In like June, Ryan Grimm, who is the Washington bureau chief of The Intercept and a good friend of mine and I think a great reporter, like messaged me and he's like, hey, there's this woman running in Queens against this shitty incumbent who's just like hasn't been to the district in 20 years. One of those guys, just like, he's like a lot really powerful, but nobody knows him, that like in those back rooms of the Capitol where everything gets done. And he said, I think you'd really like her. And I was like, Ryan, I'm not interested in like supporting Democratic candidates. He's like, no, just look at her and talk to her. And it was AOC. And I like looked at her Twitter feed and it was like that week she had like said, the Israelis had killed a bunch of Gazans. And she went onto Twitter and she said, the oppression of Palestinians is a human rights issue. You can't pretend you care about human rights in the United States and racism in the United States if you support Israel. And I'm sick of people in my own party. And I was like, wow, right? She's running for Congress in fucking New York City saying, I'm sick of Democrats supporting Israel. I was like, all right, I'm interested in her. And I went and then I interviewed her. It was like, you can see it on YouTube. It was like 250,000 people watched, however many. And I really was impressed with her. Like I asked her about identity politics and she said, this is a Trojan horse. They get like Black and Latino candidates who pretend to be liberal, but they're really, just there to give the appearance of diversity, but it's not real diversity. She said, I asked her if she won, if she would support Pelosi and Hoyer for leadership. And she said, absolutely not. They've been there too long. We need new leadership. I won't vote for them.
Welcome to another episode of You Left Shit Out. That last part made me laugh also because we all know that's a joke that she's not supporting Mama Bear, aka Speaker Pelosi. So welcome again to You Left Shit Out. I'm your host today. I'm Jay or Compton Jay or CJ. Any of those will do. Nick and I took a day off, or I took a day off, full day off yesterday. He already had the interview booked, so he did the interview, then took the rest of the day off, and he's also taking today off. So I think there might be a Nick and CJ tomorrow for those looking for it, but lots of topics to get into today. So let's toss up the graphic. Talk about the graphic here. So what I find amazing is this narrative that Bernie Sanders, AOC, all the squad members that voted for it, progressive members that voted for it, all of their PR team, aka center left media covering for them, like The Intercept, like Jacobin. We'll get to that article. But they're all trying to sell this to salvage the reputation of the so-called pseudo-left or the so-called left, aka the pseudo-left. And that's that's the main topic. Let me look at the other topics here. That's the main topic today. But tied to that topic, we're also going to talk about that same, or the rail union, one of the rail unions, ousted their sellout union leader. So that speaks to what Ryan was saying. We're trying to sell about workers wanted this. Well, those same workers whose claim they wanted this ousted their leader, like surprisingly, ousted this incumbent leader. So we'll get into that. Of course, the Mumia Abu-Jamal news. We'll talk about that, if he has a new trial or if we're still waiting. Elon Musk bans tech reporters. So we will also get into that. And AOC dragged for rail rally performance, that's part of that main story that no one is buying the narrative AOC and Ryan Grimm is selling. So we'll kind of tie those two. Where am I here? We'll kind of tie those two together. And those are the topics. So let's get to some announcements and we'll get right into these topics here. The other thing, I mean, I'm seeing some other stories bubbling, so I'm gonna do a check of just, any, breaking sort of news during this stream to see if there's any updates or any news. Friday's the day they like to drop a lot of news so that the cycle is not a full 24 hours. It's out of the cycle, and then the weekend is here. So that's typical. So we'll make sure we're keeping an eye on that. All right. So where are we? We are at 68 likes, 160 people. Can we push that to 120 likes? 120 likes. So like the stream. Let's throw up some comments while we're liking the stream here. Well, the intro was a clip video. I am a real person. Yeah, the intro was. Here we go here. Yeah, it'll say premiere when it's a clip. It'll say premiere. Good. What up, RBN fam? Listening on the road. I'll be here, but AFK. Happy Friday. No Grim Job Zone. Actually, we're not going to focus on him as much, but he is part of this narrative that is trying to be. So, will you cover AOC's new movie, which flopped? That was one of the segments I had to cut. I was thinking about doing that. I might just play the video, so that is a possibility. AOC publicly shamed for selling out rail workers. We can only hope. I hope too, Eric. And what's up? Hey, everyone. What else we got? Yes, she has a movie. Is it called? I can't remember. It's about climate. So the subject, it's not the subject. It's just that nobody actually saw it. What's up, John? Dana in the building. I didn't even know AOC had a movie until I heard about it doing so poorly. Me too. Hey y'all, let me see if I can where are we at here? Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Why don't I bring up something?
When I first started, writing about politics, I was part of the liberal blogosphere, and I believe.
So let's see. AOC movie. Here goes Fox News.
He's a socialist, a social media sensation, and firebrand progressive lawmaker, but AOC's bid to become a movie star ending in a spectacular failure. Her new climate change documentary called To the End, bombing at theaters. The film making only $80 per theater and raking in less than $10,000 during its opening weekend. Maybe it's because it's so cringeworthy.
Some of us have to actually live the future that you all are setting on fire.
We're going to make historic investments and we'll seize the opportunity.
We got the candidate that was nominated to come to us.
We're either going to go out in a blaze of glory or we're going to win what we want.
America has faced threats before and come out stronger.
All right. Well, AOC is one to get a lot of attention whenever she speaks about.
All right. I can't hear the commentary. I just can't bear these people here. So let's see if there's another video we can bear. I can't bear those people talking.
Change documentary of her own. It turned out to be a big flop, though. The film, called To the End, hit theaters.
To the End. That is the name of the documentary. Now, this is kind of being overblown, in my opinion, because it wasn't sold as a like everybody go see movie. I would like to know how many theaters was it released in, because that's going to tell me a lot of what they were targeting. But if it's a documentary, that tells me it's probably a more art house movie houses, and not like your regular, AMC down the street. So, but who knows? maybe if we do this story, maybe we'll cover it tomorrow more in depth, and when more people write about it. So, but let's finish the clip. It's very short, 38 seconds.
Over the weekend, and it played on 120 screens, but reportedly drew in only $80 per theater. That's paltry. Here's a peek.
Some of us have to actually live the future that you all are setting on fire.
We're going to make historic investments and we'll seize the opportunity.
We got the candidate that was nominated to come to us.
Now, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is out with a new climate change documentary of her own. It turned out to be a big flop, though. The film called
So it repeats. So what conservatives are attempting to do, it's sort of paint the idea or the crisis of climate as silly as the people, because people didn't come out to her show. You see how people aren't buying this, AOC? That's what they're trying to paint this as if the people not going to see the movie is a reflection on the climate issue. So that part is pretty disgusting. But if they're just solely banking on they don't like her and it flopped, hey, I could see that. I could jive with that, I guess. Let's see if there's any other. Oh, that's just a movie. Who is that back there? And that's what the little cover looks like. You can see that. Let's see if there's a bigger one. There's not. Oh, there's another graphic here. Let's click on this one. AOC movie flops hard, grosses less than 10,000 from 100. Okay, 120 screens. I mean, 10,000 is still bad, but it's only on 120 screens. That's not a lot at all. No, that's not a lot at all. That's like 120 screens could be literally, that's less than the screens that are in LA County. So that tells you that's not a lot of screens. 120, there's more than 120 movie theaters that could show this movie just in LA County alone in California. So that's not a lot of theaters, although being that it's AOC produced or whatever, if she's in it, it should have gotten more than 10,000. It should have gotten more than that. So that, I mean, but it's not going to get no millions. That's not what this, not with 120 screens. You have to get several thousand screens to cover the United States. But anyway, that's it. I don't know if there's more to cover. Maybe we won't cover this. I mean, it didn't do well. $10,000. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That is terrible. Yeah, that is pretty terrible. But let me bring up my notes here. All right, so the first story I do want to sort of delve into is the Elon. Actually, no, not the Elon Musk story. Let's go to the Real News Network story. So let me bring that one up. Now, this one is about the ousting of railroad boss. Where is it? Hang on 1 second here. And Nick, if you're watching, I just saw your DM. So I saw it. All right, so let's bring it up into the screen here. So this is, and I'm going to go to comments and finish my introduction in just a second, but I'm setting up what the first story will be so I can kind of get ahead of the game here. This is from the realnews.com. And this is written by Jonah Furman, written yesterday. Rail workers oust union president who backed labor deal. So the deal that was forced down the workers' throat, the railroaders' throat, they ousted that guy who backed that deal. So that is the first story we'll be discussing today before we get into the main story of the AOC. just want to get a little warm up going. Got a lot of people making comments in the chat. Let's finish getting to where we were, or let's go back to where we're at, and that was here. Let's like the video. If you are brand new and you would like to get notifications of when we go live, or if you're not brand new and you still would like to get those same notifications, join our Substack. If you want to join our Discord, join our Substack, because Substack users get access to our Discord along with our Patreon. So if you want to get access to our Discord, join our Substack. Other thing, this is where we're at. Yesterday, I think we crossed 27.1. Let me see where we're at. Oh, almost. So it looks like it's about 30 some odd a day. So probably going to cross 27.1 today. We're at 27.98. Subscribe. The goal is pound or hashtag RBN to 30K is the hashtag, I should say. The goal is 30,000. We're just about 2,900 away from that goal. Also, we're liking the video. We're approaching our initial goal, but let's push to 200 now. So 75 more likes. That'll push us to 200. We have 260 people watching. So let's get into the first story right after these comments. Let's go to some of your comments here. Salute. Substack is where we could where we send other people use it for writing like articles. So for example, Glenn Greenwald, his Substack has a lot. I don't even know if it's in the millions. I don't know if you know, Nick. I see you in the comments. But he has, like, I think he has one of the most popular, if not the most popular Substack. So it's just like independent writing. So you are able to subscribe to a person. You can pay that person directly, like a direct fee. I wouldn't call it a fee because they don't demand it, but you can. Like, we don't require any payment. Everybody on our Substack is a free subscription. So, and like Nick said, our Discord is booming. Yeah, didn't know that people like Discord as much as they do, because we have a lot of people just overnight join our Discord. So make sure if you want to do that, make sure you join our Substack so that you can get the Discord link. Critics love the movie. Normal people hate it. Without watching it, they know she's a joke. That's good. Actress on call. So she's in it. She's not like producing it. She's in it. I mean, like a documentary. I saw that little clip. So I thought the AOC movie was her acting during worker strikes. Some great comedians in the audience. The movie critics just wanted to date her. Maybe. Violent moviegoers refuse to pay to watch AOC. All right, I think I'll leave it at there. We're shooting for 200 likes, and let's get into this article right here. This is, let's see if I have a banner for this one. This will be a short segment because we must stay up on our revolutionary understanding of what narratives are being told to us. Rail workers fire union leader. Yes, this is the one we'll start with. So let's get into this article. This originally appeared on More Perfect Union. So you can, if you may have seen this same article on More Perfect Union. I think it was printed the day. Oh, yeah, here it goes. The day right before. So here we go. In a stunning upset, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen, the 28,000 member union of railroad workers, has elected a new president, Eddie Hall, a local officer out of Division 28 in Tucson, Arizona, won against incumbent Dennis Pierce with 53% of the membership-wide vote. Hall will take office on January 1st, so in a few days, a couple weeks maybe. pending official certification of the results and will lead the larger of the two unions that make up the Teamsters Rail Conference. The surprise victory is the latest fallout from a national freight rail shutdown in which some 60,000 rail workers had a contract imposed on them. In the belt, the second largest belt, I should say, B-L-E-T for those listening, the second largest union involved in negotiation, members ratified a deal, but many members were unhappy with the outcome. In an interview, I guess I can read this quote here. In an interview, Hall said his election spoke to rank and file frustrations where leadership failed to listen to the membership throughout the negotiations. We have a union, but members are not involved, he said. I'm hoping to get out and listen to the membership. So this is a reflection of the rank and file frustrations. So to the point that Ryan Grimm was trying to make, and is still trying to make, by the way, because he's still claiming that, no, he doesn't think, like, it's not believable. It's not believable. Whatever he's saying, I don't need to repeat it. So that part, I need to repeat the first part I was quoting him on. And that's him speaking to the point that somehow there were some workers that wanted AOC and the squad to do this, and that's why they did it. Like, it's just complete ridiculousness. Not that there's a real person, not that there's not a real person saying it. No one's disputing that. 0 people, let's keep that clear. 0 people is disputing that. Just like with Medicare for all is not 100%, even though 100% humans need it, 100% of humans don't vote for it or don't think we should have it. Same thing. So if you go out and get the minority of people who don't want us to have health care or everybody to have health care, and then you say AOC and them got word from these Americans, what does that do? One, why are you letting workers talk you out of your socialist principles, which is not to break strikes? If you're a socialist, that is. So it's completely absurd, the narrative that they're trying to sell, and literally no one is buying it. When we get to AOC's thread, literally there's not a single positive comment in the thread that she posted when she was at the rail worker rally and speaking, and she made a post, hey, I'm happy that I was here, and shout out, and that type of thing. You going through that thread, one, there's not a lot of likes on it for the amount of people she has. And then 2, the amount of comments is getting close to the amount of likes, and that's not a good sign. And 3, when you go through the comments, not a single positive comment. Not a single positive comment whatsoever in a single thread. But let's continue with the article here. The Belt was one of 3 unions that came within hours of striking in September before reaching a last-minute tentative agreement with heavy involvement from the Biden White House and Secretary of Labor Marty Walsh. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to correct this, but I wouldn't necessarily call this a last minute. This was a sham that they perpetrated before midterms so that they wouldn't strike break before the midterm election. Because imagine AOC and everybody voting to break a strike before the election happened. Do you think there will be a red wave? So let's remember, this did originally appear on More Perfect Union, and More Perfect Union is a Democratic outfit. Absolutely. At least progressive Democrat outfit. So, but let's continue. In June, the Belt took a strike vote, its first such national vote in over a decade, members returning ballots voted 99.5 in favor. For months, the Belts and the other unions had pushed for 15 paid sick days for rail workers. Currently, railroaders get none. In those final hours before their strike deadline on September 15th, the union agreed instead to accept 3 unpaid sick days within 30 days notice to be taken on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Good Lord, this is a terrible deal. With Dennis Pierce standing next to him in the Oval Office, Joe Biden told the press they feel good. These guys, by the way, they're still standing by, but they should be in bed, in bed. 20 straight hours of negotiation. I want to thank businesses and labor. Pierce then advocated for his membership to support the deal. Contracts between the railroad and their employees have never had sick times, he said in a separate interview. Quote, there are a lot of industries don't have that in their contract. Asked if he would support the deal, Pierce replied, I probably will. Pierce was indeed able to get the contract ratified, but it may have cost him his job. And then it goes into talking about Eddie Hall. We'll just read just a little bit of this before we move into the main story here. So let's go and read a little bit here. Eddie Hall is a working engineer on the Union Pacific Railroad based in Tucson, Arizona. He worked on the rails for 28 years. He has been a local engineer officer for the past 12. He says he never considered trying to move up in the union ranks until last fall. As members grew frustrated with the stalled negotiation process, Hall's District 28 held a meeting where they voted to send a letter to Dennis Pierce asking him to come down and, for lack of a better word, explain himself. Pierce headed down to Tucson in February of this year, and members weren't satisfied with his responses. That's when the district nominated Eddie Hall to run for the Belt president. This will be the last paragraph here. What started as frustration over the length of the negotiation, which began in late 2019 and meant, among other things, deferred raises, soon became about getting time off the job. In 2020, just before the start of the pandemic, Union Pacific implemented a new attendance policy that harshly penalized workers for taking time off, time that was already unpaid. In early 2022, BNSF also announced, as the other union, a new policy, not a union, but the company, dubbed High Vis, that similarly threatened rail workers' jobs if they kept up with the grueling work schedule. These policies were part of the broader precision scheduling railroading regime that railroad companies have implemented across the industry, cutting jobs and increasing the pressure on those who remain. So it is a pretty decent article. Don't like how they describe the tentative deal, quote unquote. But again, this is from More Perfect Union. So that is very short beginning story because I want to get to the main story. It's connected because like sort of all of these stories are connected. They're sort of separate stories, but they're sort of connected. So let's get to that. Let me see. Where is it? We went to AOC Flock Dot or Doc Flop. So now let's go to AOC Drag for performance. And let me check our likes here. All right, so let me check before we get into this next story. All right, so we had 195 likes. Thank you for that. We are currently sitting at 322 people watching. So maybe we can push that to 275. Let's do another 80 people to like the stream. Another 80 people to like the stream for this main story that we're about to get into. And then I'm going to head to the dentist because I sort of have a toothache. Not sort of, I have a toothache. Something with my feeling. Is that how you say it? Feeling? The thing that's in your teeth. Anyway, it feels loose, and air and all that gives pain and anything, sugar. So I am going to the dentist after this. But had to squeeze these stories in. So make sure you give us a like. Make sure you join our Substack. If you need notifications, if you want to join our Discord, the way to get to our Discord is 2 paths: Patreon membership, or the free path is joining our Substack. Excuse me. All right, so let's get into the main story, and I will go back to Twitter for this because we're going to start with the video. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it if you're on social media, because I think I've seen it on Instagram, TikTok. And I mean, I saw it. We're going to Twitter to play it, but I know I've seen it on Instagram and TikTok also. So let's go. Where are my bookmarks here? Bookmarks. Okay, here we go. I now have one just for today's episode. So let's look and see. Let's look and see and start here. Now, I'll come back to this. And this is what we're going to come back to, because it's sort of irresistible to me. I feel like I want to talk about it now. But this is what I'm very anxious to talk about. And that's Jacobin. And then all the replies that you see here. People aren't buying this stuff. And Jacobin, of course, is the DSA, the DSA magazine, the professional managerial class left, the middle class left, U.S. left. This is their magazine. So we will be covering that as part of this segment, but it's not the first part. The first part is the video, and that is here. And AOC, where is it? I thought I clicked it. Sorry. Let's do it again. Here we go. AOC, I just can't believe they're showing their faces like this. And I don't know if I haven't seen a video of Cori Bush or her even retweeting it. So I'm not sure she posted anything, but we can go to her page to check. But this is AOC's tweet, and let's make it a little bit smaller so we can see it all in one shot. This is from her actual rep page or representative page. Proud to have joined Bernie Sanders, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, and Donald Payne, and 68 more members in the House and Senate to urge President Biden to do everything within his power to guarantee 7 paid sick days for rail workers. That's the tweet. Now, to me, it kind of has that's it, kind of feel in this tweet like that's all you have to say about this, because to me that tells me she knew this wasn't going to get the best response, so she just kind of made the bare minimum comment about her appearance there. And we're going to get also to a World Star, I keep saying that, but a World Socialist website article where they talk about how this had low attendance and it was a flop and what it was actually meant to do. But first, let's play the clip and with the sound on, and then we'll talk some more. So where am I here?
And push it so we get paid sick days here. Right. Yeah. Thank you all so incredibly much. We are here to join together to continue this fight, and we know that we are going to exercise every single avenue possible in order to secure paid sick days for our rail workers and every worker in the United States of America. We know that we've tried in Congress, but we also continue to have other options available to us. On Friday, let me make sure I get my facts straight over here. On Friday, Senator Bernie Sanders, along with my colleagues, Representative Bowman, myself, Cori Bush, in total 70 members of the House and the Senate led a letter to to President Biden on Friday, asking and urging him to do everything he can to guarantee that rail workers can get our 7 days of paid sick leave.
So uninspiring and terrible. It's sad because I'm not sure her plans was to flop this bad. You're telling me AOC is out there? You're telling me the AOC of when she was elected, 2018? The AOC of 2018 would be able to stand out there with just a very minimal crowd speaking about worker rights? Is that what you think? Or is this the place we have arrived with this person based off of her own deeds? This looks pretty terrible to me. And it sounded worse. We're going to listen again, but I'm going to stop it in the places. It's only a minute long. And then we'll get to some comments. And it's not good. Like I said, not a single, this is the thread I was talking about, not a single positive comment. Let's listen.
And push it so we get paid sick days here. Thank you all so incredible.
They want to make this so much only about paid sick days and not the fact that you crushed the strike. That's what they want to make this about. Like, you're not getting enough paid sick days. They're asking for 15. And you're trying to get 7. Why aren't you saying, President Biden, why don't you say you're for workers? Why don't you prove it by including in the order? Why didn't you say that before he signed it in the resolution? This is all like the I'm trying. You ever try to get on the elevator and it's closed and a person and you feel like that person didn't really try to stop the elevator so you can get on? It's kind of like, I'm trying. That's what this is. That's what this is. That's what AOC is doing. Like, this is purely garbage performative. This isn't the good performative that's going to reap any benefits. Forced to vote is good performative. In a performative, if you think performative means you know it's not going to receive enough votes to pass, if that's your definition of performative, but you're still doing it, okay. That produces results. What does this do? This is purely her going out for an hour or so to do a little rally so that she can have this person on camera where her saying this. So it's like a checkbox. This is her checking off her, I did my labor thing today. I showed my support. It's just bizarre. It's like putting somebody in the hospital and, slugging somebody, putting them in the hospital, and then showing up with a card. Like, here you go. You broke the strike first. Just terrible. So Democrats are a business, and that is a fact. Democrats are a business. Let's see, make sure that nobody's here saying anything. I did see one super chat. I need to make sure I'm not missing a bunch of super chats. So let me just check, because I don't want to get too far behind. All right, so far it's just one. I started that one. All right, so I'll read that in a little bit. All right, so yeah, I think I went through everything. All right, so let's play it. Like I said, let's play it. Let's continue to play it.
Much. We are here to join together to continue this fight, and we know that
to continue what fight? That this is your beginning.
We are going to exercise every single avenue possible.
We're going to exercise every single avenue possible. I think in her mind, she's saying psych right after that, but she's just saying it to herself.
In order to secure paid sick days for our rail workers and every worker in the United States of America. We know that we've tried in Congress, but we also continue to have.
We know that we tried in Congress. Does that sound like somebody who believes what she's even saying? Does that sound like somebody who believes what she's even saying? It doesn't even sound like she believes what she's saying. Let's see. I think that's it. Let me see if I can quickly bring up this article here. So many betrayals. Now let's look at. I don't want to continue looking. Actually, I wonder why it does that sometimes. So I'm looking for the article. So why don't I pull this up since I'm here? And that's the main article we're going to cover. I'll bring that into the screen right after we finish this video and the thread. So let's continue.
Other options available to us. On Friday, let me make sure I get my facts straight over here. On Friday, Senator Bernie Sanders, along with my colleagues, Representative Bowman, myself, Cori Bush, in total 70 members of the House and the Senate led a letter to President Biden on Friday, asking and urging him to do everything he can to guarantee that rail workers can get our 7 days of paid sick leave.
All right. Let's start with the quote tweets. I mean, it's so deflating to listen to that. Like, it's deflating to me. Oh, Jordan has chimed in. And this is new. This is only 20 minutes ago. So, wow. I'm getting a chance to chime in on Jordan. So let's add a title here. Jordan Sheraton chimes in on AOC. So let's hear what Jordan Sheridan says. So Jordan, I said no disrespect, Jordan. I have 2 A's here for your name, sir. Let's correct that so that nobody thinks I'm doing that on purpose. So Jordan Sheridan chimes in on AOC. I don't know what this says. Let's blow it up and let's read it. Is that real large for everybody to see? So the time to do this and agitate the Biden administration was before, and he put that in all caps as to make a point, the sick pay vote. While withholding your vote, not after the vote when you're already handed Biden and greedy. How come Biden doesn't have an adjective? Greedy rail carriers their corporate victory. So that's what he says. Let's see if there's more to. Is there a second part to this? Oh, this is what people are saying about his own tweet. Now, this is only 20 minutes. So maybe we'll check back later. But this is just theater. Either he's saying Jordan is. If AOC acts on a presumption that other politicians will be bad, even if it was true, those politicians will turn around and accuse her of bad faith accusations, while most constituents are confused about who's right. So the likes of AOC has to act after the fact. 100%. This one. Let's read these ones that says show more replies. Imagine it's 2064 and you are still giving advice to politicians. Let's see this one. Exactly. So That's Jordan's take. Let's see who else has spoken up on this. Let's see. Right here. Where's it here? Here. Yeah. So this person says you should have voted harder. Another quote tweet. Not only did progressives, can you see that? Let me make sure you see that. Yeah. Not only did progressives like AOC vote to kill their strike, they continue to advocate for watering down their demands by not asking for 15 sick days. That's what I was saying. They act like they are good, are the heroes, when they're only offering half the days that they're even asking for. She's not worth thinking about. She is irrelevant. Hypocritical loser. Please fuck off already. Gotta be really done to keep falling for this shit. If only you had voted, if only you had voted against the law in the first freaking place when you had the chance. But it would be better, but it better to be an effective virtue signaler than a representative. This is the epitome of closing the barn door after the horse has bolted. I love that analogy. Or maybe it is not even that. It is just encouraging others to close the door on an empty barn. What a disappointment. We're going to stop when we get to a positive comment. Those are a vomit or about to vomit. Here's another one. When you definitely care, vote for the opposite on public record, then send a private letter. It's like a anonymous Yelp review on Epstein Island. I didn't read this one. Okay, this is a good one. This is pretty funny. Okay, let's retweet this one here. This is funny to me. I don't know if you think this is funny. This is funny to me. So I'm going to read this again. This was from Ash Falling 0. This is pretty funny. When you definitely care, vote for the opposite on public record, then send a private letter. It's like sending an anonymous Yelp review of Epstein Island. Man, that's nice. This is one says more grandstanding because she voted against the rail workers and forfeited their right to strike for what they wanted. They wrote a letter, guys. Better days are here. That's another one. And this is a Bernie person. Bernie or Bus 7. And here's a comic book clipping. Everyone knows you're a scab. Ha ha ha. And Raging Demon, Fraud Squad, hashtag. This one. This is great and all, but why did Dems vote on a one-day bill a few weeks back, knowing with both the 1 and 7 day bills, the Senate would only pass one? This could have been solved. See, this is a person still not understanding. You're bringing up very logical logic, but you still haven't understand that she's a bad actor. You're still believing in this, but you're getting to the right logic. You're almost there. You just have to come to the realization that AOC is a fraud. I think. Yeah, I read that one from Jordan already. Here's one from Issa. As Lenin says, you don't get power by begging the czar to be nicer. You get power from the people, and you have to appeal to the people to rise up and take power. Lenin's writing from 1905, 1916 are great because he talks about the limits of the Duma. Mr. Chris Love, any legislator, regardless of their identity or specific location within this colonial structure, who votes to make strikes illegal is a class enemy, period. What did I say? No, I put the wrong thing up. Sorry. It still goes because it did flop. This one, AOC dragged for her performance. People aren't buying this garbage, and I'm loving it. People aren't buying. I think that could be enough. It goes on and on. Literally, it's not. Girl, go tell. It's literally not one. Y'all could have, I don't know, not voted to break the strike to begin with, just an idea. I think that really would have showed them, urgently urging, yet never doing. Y'all are strike breakers and scabs to the working class. The fake so-called progressive left wing of the fascist duopoly has always agreed with their right-wing counterparts on international policies. The jig has been up. Princess of betrayals. She's proud of betraying honest working people for the benefit of railroad robber barons. You voted in favor of strike break that would have granted the workers no extra sick days. You're a fraud. Shut the hell up, you liar. Wow. People are not happy. So that's the quote tweets. Now let's go into the thread and see. I'm going to refresh it because some people may have added some things since I've been on. So let's go into the thread. Those were all the quotes. And like I said, it wasn't, I didn't skip. I just went down the line. There's not a single positive comment. Let's go in. And let me see how many. Now, I'm going to give you, this is where Nick showed me how to do this. So you go to the second one and you can see. Now you can see here, 1,800 likes. Approaching, let's just say 1,900 since it's closer to 1,900. And 1,100 or 1,063 comments. And all of them are bad. So let's go back here and then we'll start these comments and then get to the article from World Socialist website. Here's Dana. Dana's in the comments. So Dana, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, you're just retweeting this. So let me read it first. And then let's see if Dana's still here. Why did U.S. progressives completely ignore force to vote and march for Medicare for all? Bernie and the squad abandoned Medicare for all march. And then there's a YouTube link she has there. And then Dana, coronavirus information, no vote, no Nancy Pelosi. And then she quote tweets that. So Dana comes with the receipts. And that's why I love Dana with her receipts. Let's show more replies here. Make sure we're getting everybody. And she's just copying some people. People about Medicare for all. She's calling them out on their Medicare for all. And that's what these tweets are. Here is friend of the show, Danny Haifong. Danny says, you and the rest of the squad, minus Rashida, already scabbed the rail workers' strike effort, so this is nothing but performative. Oops, let's go back out. Now let's continue. Y'all really just stripped them off their right to strike, and now you're doing a little theater gig to seem like you want them to have the rights you just stole. And then here's the meme. When will the squad start helping the working class? That's the neat part. They won't. Let me blow that up. When will the squad start helping the working class? That's the neat part. They won't. You voted to force railroad workers to take a contract without no sick days. That's who you are. And then, of course, this now becoming classic picture of her being a scab. like I said, the people in the chat are not having it, and I love it. Let's do a couple more, and then we're going to get to the article here, because the article really dives into more detail about this. Here is Stephanie. You literally voted to union bust. Happy 2-word Tuesday to you and yours. I think that's not part of it. Okay. That's already that there already was a available avenue. It's called a strike. You helped Joe Biden crush that, and now you are begging for sick days with no leverage because you voted to take their leverage away. Here's another one. It's so infuriating. If Biden had just pushed for a better deal in September or just let them go on strike after the election, they would have their sick time now. There's no question in my mind. Pressure the owners, not the unions, Democrats. Here is Gritty in the way. Tweets have been featured on here before. How about letting the rail workers do everything in their power instead of superseding their right to strike for better conditions? Stop using workers for fundraising while crushing their efforts to strike to fight for their demands. I'm just going down. Sure, your vote to deny workers the right to collectively determine the most basic human right to right in favor of profits and commerce. All you are shameful hypocrite with the scab picture. And then we have Claire Daily, and it says real leftist, and it says warmonger over her picture. I trade the squad and Sanders 1,000 times over for just one Claire Daily. There's J7. Jay was out with us with Romans in LA on Skid Row. What's up, Jay? Nothing screams desperation than the theater performed after the vote to break a strike. And then that picture appears again. Here's another one. This is virtue signaling to cover your ass. If you really wanted this, you'd have coupled the 7-day leave to the original bill to kill the strike as a way to guarantee them to the worker. But no, you shot down the strike and freeing fighting for the sick days afterwards. It's garbage. And that's friend of the show, friend of the network, Robot. All right, so I think that's enough on Twitter. Now let's go to the article here. Let's go to this article. As you can see, she got drugged in the thread. Literally, that's her own thread. Not a single defender, not a single one. So that says a lot in my book. So here we go. Poorly attended union rally seek to rehabilitate Democrats after voting to impose rail strike. So this is World Socialist website. You can get this article. Let's go to some comments before I start to read this here and see what everybody is saying. This is already saying battery low. All right, so a couple comments. Busy at work. Wish I could listen in. Sending love to CJ and all brothers and sisters, citizens of the universe. What does scab stand for? I forget the exact meaning, but I can check it right now. Oops. Someone who crosses a picket line. And let me see the actual meaning. First thing that came up. Someone called a scab backing or let me see. I think it is someone crossing a something. I think that does stand for that. So far, scab. Maybe somebody in the chat has put it. Let's see. Our chat is pretty base. Let's see if anybody has it. I don't think so. I don't see it so far. Let's keep looking. No one. Okay. Scab meaning no. I guess it's not. It didn't start off as an acronym. It's not showing. It's not saying that. So it doesn't have. It just says scab in the definition. So anyway, let's go to some more comments. Better question: who will the state send out to confuse the working class next? They must know their little squad experiment is over. This is a great question because I agree. What is the next plan? I think they've already developed and they've already put out their next plan, but I think that plan could be failing too. You know them as breaking points. Independent media that's not independent, and all the sources they use are all from corporate media. That makes literally no sense. So they're deploying people out in these spaces, and it's not just breaking points, but they're deploying people that way. I mean, that's the only way. I don't see any other way they will be able to do that. Let's continue. Yeah. That's a great comment. Yeah, Danny's great. All right, so let's get back. Let's get to the article. And this one is, I think, is written by Tom. Is Tom listed here? Yeah, Tom Hall. This is a picture of them. I mean, how many of this is really just staff, really? Like, nobody's here. Like, this is literally just made up for show. So let's read, though. On Tuesday, the two largest rail unions, the Brotherhood of Locomotives and Sheet Metal Air Rail, and they give you the full name, but the Smart TD Union, held a series of rallies around the United States. Their aim was to rehabilitate, listen to this, their aim was to rehabilitate the badly exposed image of the Democratic Party above all its pseudo-left progressive wing after it imposed a contract on railroaders and blocked a strike at the start of the month. I'm going to read all of this again because it was kind of jumbled. On Tuesday, the largest rail unions, the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers, that's the belt, and then the Smart TD, held a series of rallies across the United States. Now, they're saying that the union's aim, we're talking about the leadership, not the rank and file, but their aim was to rehabilitate the badly exposed image of the Democratic Party above all its pseudo-left progressive wing after it imposed a contract on railroaders and blocked a strike at the start of the month. In an event advertised under the tagline, quote, "Fight for workers' rights," end quote, the speakers list at the main rally in Washington, D.C. was given over entirely to those individuals who played key roles in ripping up workers' rights to strike. So the article is, I'm going to pause here. The article is saying this is so blatant because the key speaking roles were given to all of those pseudo-left people who needed to have this as cover. AOC being one of them. Remember I made mention of that? Of how this felt like very just scheduled and like performative. But where did okay, right here. This included Congress people and the Democratic Socialists of American members, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Jamal Bowman, and Cori Bush, who voted in favor of the anti-strike bill. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, who cast meaningless votes against in the Senate, but who supported the procedural maneuver that guaranteed the bill's rapid passage, also spoke. So that's key to understand, because Bernie Sanders voted against it, but Bernie Sanders did something else. He also voted the procedural vote, unanimous consent, that gave the ability to rapidly pass the bill before the December 9th deadline. So Bernie doesn't come in here without with clean hands. Let's continue, or I'm going to read this part again. In an event advertised under the tagline "Fight for the Workers' Rights," the speakers list at the main rally in Washington, D.C. was given over entirely to those individuals who played key roles in ripping up workers' rights to strike, a workers' right to strike. And then it listed again, but now let's skip down here. In their remarks, they focused on the issue of sick days and pretended that Democrats would continue to fight to give workers 7 days paid time off. But the failed resolution, which proposed to add sick days to the imposed contract, was designed from the start only to provide Democrats with the political cover as they came together in record time with Republicans to ban a strike. Now, with Republicans set to take over the House next month, their intransigence will serve as a convenient excuse for why nothing can be done. Let's continue. The rallies were very poorly attended, with no more than a couple dozen in many cities. At the main DC rally outside the Capitol building, an area which regularly hosts protests in the tens and hundreds of thousands, had little more than 100 people turn out, consisting mostly of press, Democratic Party staffers, and union officials, with perhaps a dozen actual railroaders. This is just pitiful. Like I said, when we was watching that video, I was like, how many of these people are actually like, how many? So most of them were staffers. Let me go back to that. So they're the ones holding the signs and clapping. You mean to tell me Bernie Sanders, all these high profile progressives, and nobody shows up? That's what you're telling me? Let's see. Let's continue here. I'm going to read this again. The rallies were very poorly attended, with no more than a couple dozen in many cities, like a couple dozen people showing up. And then at the main one, you had 100 people, right? But you're talking about press, Democratic Party staffers, union officials, with perhaps a dozen actual railroaders. The rank and file is not down with this. It's the party bosses, like Shama said in the interview with Brianna Joy Gray. It's everybody sold them out. Biden sold them out. The union bosses sold them out. The rail barons sold them out. And the pseudo left. So all of them sold them out. The low turnout is an expression of the deep hatred and distrust which workers regard the union bureaucracy. A high turnout, however, was no doubt deliberately discouraged. A too high ratio of rank and file workers to bureaucrats would have proven impossible to control. Hardly any of the speakers who appeared at the DC rally would have been able to speak before getting shouted down. So that's the strategy, not to have a lot of people show up. Because if a lot of people show up, then you're going to have, like it was in her comments, where every single comment was a negative comment about her. So don't tell all the rank and file. Just tell the rank and file that's down with it. The same ones that went to the Jamal Bowman offense that Ryan Grimm always wants to report about. Those same people. And it's the same ones that Jacobin reports about, that we're going to get to that article in just a minute. The rallies were held during the middle of the week in areas far removed from major rail yards. There were no rallies held in the major centers of rail industries, including Kansas City, Lincoln, Nebraska, and even Chicago. The rally in the metro Detroit area, for example, was held in a trendy middle-class shopping area in Royal Oak on the opposite side of the city from the large rail yard in southwest Detroit. Workers were instructed not to speak with the press. A sham. This was literally the rally that they had was literally a sham. They try to make it seem like, oh, we're joining the railroad workers. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're a fucking liar. I had to read this comment. Savvy. Because this word, I love this word. So I saw the word and I didn't even know it was savvy. I clicked on it. It was savvy. So I'm going to share this real quick because it's funny. And I want you to know what I was laughing at here. It was this comment right here from Savvy. CJ, it's straight up buffoonery at this point. Shout out to Savvy. And it was because him too. He's pretending to stand. This goes with this story. So I can insert this. This goes with the story. This is about the strike. You are a strike-breaking clown, because he's now trying to act like he's for the strikers. They're all out here trying to virtue signal. And then Savvy responds, CJ, it's straight up buffoonery at this point. Classic funny statement by Savvy. I'm going to retweet that. Absolutely, Savvy. So let's listen to what this other strike breaker says. The article is about Jamal Bowman too, not just AOC. So let's listen.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. We are standing in solidarity with Starbucks workers, 1,000 strong, are going on a 3-day strike to demand their respect and dignity and a living wage. We are standing with them in Congress, and we are standing with them across the country. And let's not buy anything from Starbucks over a 3-day period in support of the workers. Peace and love. Let's go. Starbucks, show your workers respect. Let's get it done.
Now, I'm all for withholding money from capitalists. I'm for it. But this is so made for the PMC. This is a sacrifice to them. Don't get a latte for 3 days, guys. This is their general strike. Don't get a latte for 3 days. Okay? Then we're gonna put you on a wall with Fred Hampton. Funny. But yeah, thanks, Savvy, for that. Maybe I should check and see any other comments here. Let's go back to this. But look at his energy. Another funny comment. Somebody deleted it or unblocked. Strike breaker and apartheid supporter. That's on point. Yeah. That's on point, and that perfectly describes Jamal Bowman. All right, so let's go back to the article, and then maybe we'll come back and see some of these other videos and media. So the rally and I'm going to read this again. The rally, because this goes to speak to what they're trying to cultivate. Go into areas where Emma is, Emma Vigeland. Go into areas with Sam Cedar. Go into areas where Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur live. Let's go do the rallies there instead of the near the rail yards. The rally in the Metro Detroit area, for example, was held in a trendy middle-class shopping area in Royal Oak on the opposite side of the city from the large rail yards in southwest Detroit. Workers were instructed not to speak to the press. This was literally a performance from the jump. From the jump. And this goes to also indicate how union leadership is working with the capitalists and the politicians and not the rank and file. Union leadership is doing this. Let's continue. In DC, Congress people gave brief boilerplate remarks and then left as fast as they could. That was literally for show. So she can go out and tweet that shit out. AOC, or Ocasio-Cortez, pointed to a toothless letter to Biden by 70 members of Congress urging him to use executive action to give workers sick days. Quote, "We are going to use every single avenue possible except allow strike action in order to secure paid sick days for our rail workers," end quote. She claimed this letter, which will lead nowhere, was referred to repeatedly by other speakers as proof of the ongoing support of Democrats for workers. This is the letter. We're writing letters, guys and gals and people. Jabal Bowman, who introduced the sick day proposal in the House, framed as a separate resolution rather than an amendment to the to ensure that its inevitable rejection in the Senate would not delay the anti-strike law, called upon attendees to pressure my colleagues, mostly Republicans. Terrible. Rashida Tlaib, the only DSA member in the House who voted against the anti-strike law, declared, quote, "The right to strike, I believe, is the single most powerful tool for our workers to fight injustice and corporate greed," end quote. Unsurprisingly, she avoided mentioning that her fellow speakers and members of the pseudo-left DSA voted precisely to strip that tool away from workers. She didn't mention that. This DSA itself is in deep crisis over its role in imposing the contract. There are significant calls from within its own membership to expel the 3 DSA members who voted for the bill. A tweet by AOC with a video of her remarks garnered mostly, listen, I reported on this first, mostly hostile responses. A reply by WSWS writer Nick Barrickman, who attended the DC rally, was liked more than 100 times. And here it is here. And that's the article. I was looking for this article. Wow. Fantastic. This is the article I was looking for to go to earlier, and I couldn't find it on the website when I was searching. And there it goes. So let's pull it up right here. When I was bringing up how we were talking about Bernie Sanders and the procedure to quickly, the unanimous consent procedure. Oops, they got a little pop-up here. Let me take it down. Bernie Sanders, it had to be 100 senators. It had to be a unanimous vote, and he was one of them to expedite the vote. Where is it at here? Anyway, this is I was going to show you the headline. So this is the article. So Bernie Sanders, DSA played crucial role in passing anti-strike law against railroaders. And I won't read it because I covered this article before and it has its own segment. You can go check it out. So let's continue in the article here. The largest share of hot air predictably came from Sanders, who denounced billionaires and Wall Street greed without mentioning his own party's role in enforcing the pro-corporate contract brokered by the Biden administration. Quote, this is Bernie, we're going to continue to fight to guarantee paid medical leave, Sanders claimed. Quote, we are gonna put an end to precision scheduled railroading. Sanders then stumped for himself in his new role as chair of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee. Since his 2016 presidential primary campaign first pushed him into the national spotlight, the self-declared Democratic Socialist from Vermont has been elevated to high-ranking, sensitive positions by the Democratic Party, proof that he is seen as a sufficiently responsible towards the interests of the same billionaires he rhetorically denounces. That is a great point. He currently chairs the Senate Budget Committee, where businesses has continued much as it has before, with the exception of a handful of public hearings, which has given Sanders a platform to grandstand. Just terrible. The other article, the Jacobin article, I wanted to kind of highlight also. So let's go back to Twitter. Couple of other receipts here to kind of go over for this segment. Where is my bookmarks? Right here. So today's show, December 16th. Okay, so perfect. First thing. So here is the article. So Jacobin attempted to also play cover for the pseudo left and through their reporting. So here is Jacobin, and this is December 2nd. Congress has forced a contract on rail workers. We spoke with a train engineer about what's missing, union leadership's failures, and why he thinks progressives in Congress like AOC and Jamal Bowman need to be commended for their roles, not denounced. Just vomitous. And this is Jacobin. Terrible motherfuckers. But let's read some of the comments. Interview another train engineer. Nobody forced you to go with Ross Gruder, who is definitely a real person with real opinions, representative of all workers. Right. They picked that person specifically. So if you have 100 people, 70 of them say fuck AOC, 30 of them don't. Why are you picking one of the 30? So you can say we shouldn't be doing that. But Jacobin has been a joke for a while. They've been a joke. Jacobin is the synthetic left rag. Fuck Jacobin. Oh no, you should be ashamed of yourself, even suggesting it. People they got clown in their own threat. Nobody's buying this shit. No one's buying it. So commended for stabbing workers in the back. What's going on here? Seems suspect. And then they post the real press release, which clearly we covered here. Nobody's buying this stuff that Jacobin and some of these other places are what they're trying to play here. Because you could go and interview other workers who think that AOC and the squad deserves to be primary. Why aren't you putting them as the featured person in your article? So this goes and pulls up a quote from it. So this is what I do want to read. This is a quote from the article. How do I make that go away? I think it says, I understand the frustration. This is a quote from the rail worker, the one that the one that went to Jabal, that's saying you should commend Jabal Bowman and AOC. But my frustration is not with the politicians who voted to implement this thing. It's with the process itself. I don't blame AOC, for instance, for voting yes for it. I understand the strong feelings about it because I don't disagree. It is strike breaking and it is unfair labor practice, but that is the process. We sort of knew that going in. This is what they're leaning on. Just disgusting. But nobody's buying it. Jacobin serves imperialism, pathetic and cucked. Like, literally, I'm just scrolling down, I'm not skipping. They found a railroad engineer who says that the progressives who voted to stab him in the back deserve to be commended. Unbelievable. Fuck this country and fuck that rail engineer specifically. Hold on. Sorry. So my wife has a tablet that rings if she doesn't pick up on her work phone. So that's what was ringing if you heard it. But anyway, let's kind of go into the article though. Let's go into the article. We know it's bullshit, but still you have to understand these people. I mean, this is just different. This is disgusting. But this is why I noticed like all of the pseudo left, all of the professional managerial class in the media on the left, their mouths are conspicuously closed about this AOC. There are no videos at all about this shit, right? So let's read. Railroad engineer on the imposed contract. It really fell short of railroad workers' needs. An interview with Ross Gruder. I can't stomach this shit, bro. Let me see if I can stomach this shit here. I want to specifically zero in on the AOC stuff because that's the segment, because I don't want to have to read a lot of what I would consider a sellout worker who's against striking. Like, that's what I would consider, but it's still a worker, so we will give them the respect at least to read it. So let's go down to where they talk about it here. Does he mention it? Ross, and I'm assuming, I think Ross is a male, so yes. How do I go find? Okay, you do. So, Jamal. Okay, there we go. Oh, awesome. So here we go. Your average, let me blow this up a little bit. I'm learning to do stuff on my computer. Look at that. So it looks like it's an answer to this question right here. What do railroad workers think of the decision of progressives in Congress to vote to impose the tentative agreement as part of a deal to get a vote on sick? These people are not your friends, man. The framing of this question. Just terrible. Just terrible. Anyway, let's. Oh, I thought I just had it. Did I just load it? Okay, here it goes. I blew it up. So this is the question again. What do rail workers think that the decision of progressives in Congress to vote to impose the tentative agreement as part of a deal to get a vote on paid sick leave? That's the part. Acting like this is part of a deal. You didn't have to vote for it. Literally. And it would have passed. But let's see what Ross says. Your average railroader is not paying attention to that. Your average railroader knew that this was probably going to be imposed by Congress. for them, I think there are arguments about whether it's enough, but the proposed 7 days is probably what's being paid attention to the most. That's a win. That took a lot of work from the same progressives who are coming under fire. People like Bowman. Let me see, what's a win here? Knew that for them, I think there are arguments about whether it's enough, but the proposed 7 days, okay, is probably and that's a win. That took a lot of work from the same progressives. It's a win to have a proposed 7 days that fail. The same progressives who are coming under fire, people like Jamal, who really stood up and were advocates for including the pay. So you're including a worker who fell for the sham. That's your proof. A worker who fell for the sham of the two bills being coupled or decoupled. I just don't understand it. Let's go to. This is just incredible. They make sure to blow that quote up. Progressives like Jamal Bowman really stood up and were advocates for including the paid sick time. I think they need to be commended for their actions. It's truly disgusting. This is truly. Here's a quote here. Let me read all of it. I understand the frustration, but my frustration is not with politicians who voted to implement these things. It's with the process itself. I don't blame AOC, for instance, for voting yes for it. I understand the strong feelings about it because I don't disagree. It is strike breaking and it is unfair labor practice, but that is the process. We sort of knew that the process isn't voting for it. That's not the process. I mean, this is I'm close to calling this as a sham. This worker, I'm close to calling this a sham. I'm calling this a sham. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. It's illogical logic that you're trying to sell me on. And you can't sell me on that. So I don't buy it whatsoever. So let's move on. And I'm going to give you an update on if anything new has posted since then. But let's move on to the Mumia Abu-Jamal's story and just kind of give an update. Let's see here. Is this the right video? This is not it. Sorry. We're going to show a couple of videos of this rally. I'm trying to get the latest news here because there could be a decision that has been made. Let me see here. Well, nothing yet because people are still. So, all right. So then since nothing has broke, then let's go to YouTube for the content here. So let's do a quick video on quick news video to set the foundation for this next story. And let's go hearing. And let's get the latest news today. Now, go watch this video. I did watch this and researching this. Mumia Abu-Jamal's grandson was interviewed on Breakthrough News 7 hours ago. It was posted as why Mumia Abu-Jamal is in jail after 41 years, and is an interview with his grandson. Go check that out. We may play it in a moment, actually, or part of it, not all of it. Let's go. Where is that at? Here. This is the one. So let's listen to a little bit of just what is happening here. Because we're not going to play this whole thing because they go into other parts. But let's just listen to what is happening to get the foundation for the conversation. And let's throw up the new banner. And then we're going to go to comments. So let's go to some comments before we start this new segment. Let's go to some comments. All right, let's see. Boom, boom. Fascists gonna fast just the way it is, not their fault. Talk about gaslighting, Jacobin. My sentiments exactly. I'm seriously asking, though, conflicting information. Let me see. I don't know what the first question was. Sorry. Let's continue. Yes, this is the point I was making about the worker. This guy does not understand that the fraud squad used procedures to ensure that the workers lost. I guess that's the new thing. Losing is the new winning. That's it. The Democrats weren't even going to give them what they wanted, which was 15 sick days. The railroad workers wanted 15 days, not 7 sick days. Your average pal now know the guards are going to kill them, so no big deal. All right. Any final comments on this one? No. All right. So let's continue. Don't forget, Sabby is up at 6 o'clock. That's about 60 minutes away. I got about another 30 minutes or so to cover the rest of these stories before I head out myself. And let me just tell you what the stories are for Sabby. So for Sabby, it is Russell Brand and Matt Taibbi, Twitter files explanation, and Elizabeth Warren praises Joe Biden. So make sure you check out the Sabby Sab show on the Revolutionary Blackout Network today at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's about an hour from now. Also, last time I checked, we were at 375 likes. Can we get 25 more? There's several new people watching who have not liked the stream yet. So let's like the stream. 25 more will get us over the threshold of 400. And now let's get back into the story just to set the foundation. This is Democracy Now! The title of this video, Mumia should be freed. A sitting trial judge. And a judge does make reference that he should be freed. So let's listen. The sound must be turned up. Let's do it again. Now let's listen.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. After 41 years in prison, most of it on death row, this Friday, the journalist and former Black Panther Mumia Abu-Jamal faces what could be his last chance for a new trial to consider newly discovered evidence that casts doubt on his 1982 conviction for the murder of police officer Daniel Faulkner. Mumia Abu-Jamal's lawyers say evidence in boxes discovered in the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office by the new DA at the time, Larry Krasner, in 2019, show his trial was tainted by judicial bias and police and prosecutorial misconduct, like withholding of evidence and bribing or coercing witnesses to lie. Evidence in the boxes included notes from one of 2 key witnesses to prosecutors requesting, quote, the money owed to me. Well, on Tuesday, a United Nations working group submitted an amicus brief urging the judge to grant Mumia Abu-Jamal a new trial to consider the evidence, and also cited evidence of racial bias in the case. Quoting the statement, by Mumia Abu-Jamal's original trial judge, Albert Sabo, overheard by a court stenographer when he said, quote, "I'm going to help them, the jury, fry that N-word," but he used the word. Last month, Philadelphia Common Pleas Court Judge Lucretia Clemens indicated she intends to dismiss Abu-Jamal's request for a new trial, but said she would announce her final decision this Friday, December 16th. Judge Clemens is a member of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia's Commission on Racial Healing. She spoke last year in a video by Catholic Philly about how Catholic...
So I'm going to pause here because this is when they go into another part. And then we're going to skip to this interview with the judge here. So let's play this part now.
Headlined, "Finding Justice for Both Maureen Faulkner and Mumia Abu-Jamal," referring to the widow of the slain Philadelphia police officer Daniel Faulkner. Can you talk about that and why you are calling for the release of Mumia Abu-Jamal in this critical week where it could be the last chance he has for a new trial?
Thank you, Amy. It's good to talk with you again. Mumia Abu-Jamal is a Black American political activist and journalist.
So this is Judge Wendell Griffen, and Griffen with an E. That's Griffen, Arkansas Circuit Judge. So he's a sitting judge,
as you know, who has been incarcerated since he was convicted in 1982 and sentenced to death for the 1981 murder of Daniel Faulkner, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania police officer. His 1982 death sentence was overturned by a federal judge in 2001 due to sentencing irregularities. At that time, the question was, why wasn't the whole conviction overturned? But in 2019, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office disclosed for the first time that there were 6 boxes of materials that had been concealed and not delivered to the defense team before Mumia was tried. Under a 1963 decision that every law student knows about and every lawyer knows about who does criminal law practice, Brady versus Maryland, the Supreme Court of the United States held that due process of law is violated when the prosecution conceals evidence relevant to guilt or punishment from the defense. In this country, though, that kind of precedent should have required Mumia to be released and the state, or the Commonwealth in this case, decide whether or not to prosecute him based upon having revealed the right evidence. That hasn't been done. And so the question is, why?
I mean, this is such a very obvious case for a new trial. Like, it's so glaringly obvious, which is why I think makes Mumia one of the more recognizable political prisoners in the United States. It's such an egregious case. It's so out of bounds. I mean, you have a sitting judge who's saying this out of Arkansas.
Why is Mumia Abu-Jamal not being given, as another federal judge has said, the benefit of the precedents in 1963, this is 60 years, that he should be getting, because the state or the Commonwealth attorneys violated his due process laws. He had a pretense of a trial. And that's what the Supreme Court of the United States said earlier than that in 1935, in an earlier case. So we have to ask ourselves the question, why is this journalist, why is this Black activist not free And why is it so hard for a judge to say, hey, we've got the law that requires him to be free. I'm going to follow the law and declare him free. And if the Commonwealth wants to retry him, they can do so. If the Commonwealth decides we can't retry him because the evidence is no longer there, people have passed away, witnesses have forgotten information, then that is not Mumia's fault. That is the fault.
And that's essentially why they're keeping him there. It's like, we know this is wrong. We know you should get a new trial, but because we know you're not going to be reconvicted, we're just going to skip over the law and what should happen. Just despicable. Let's, for the sake of time, let's move to this next part in the story, and that is this article from Truth Out. Truthout.org, and I always like to shout out the writer if I can find. Oh, right here, Marjorie Cohen. Looks like on the 13th, so just not too long ago. And this one's entitled, "After 41 years in prison, Mumia Abu-Jamal may finally get a chance for a new trial." I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. If they held this evidence, 2 boxes of evidence, discovery, like what is hard to understand here, besides the fact that he's a Black Panther? Evidence suggests the prosecutor in Mumia's trial bribed star witnesses to testify and wrongly exclude Black juries. Let's blow this up. See this better. Here we go. Part of a series. Award-winning journalist and author Mumia Abu-Jamal has been in prison for 41 years in a case infused with racism. The 68-year-old is a former Black Panther and the author of a dozen books, including the celebrated Live from Death Row. After his 1982 conviction in the killing of police officer Daniel Faulkner, Abu-Jamal was sentenced to death. In 2011, his sentence was reduced to life without the possibility of parole. Without the possibility of parole. Abu-Jamal has a serious heart condition and other life-threatening health problems. Faulkner stopped Abu-Jamal's younger brother, William Cook, on the morning of December 9th. It's funny, it's the day after my birthday, is December 8th. 1981, Abu-Jamal was driving a taxi, coincidentally drove by and came to his brother's assistance. Following a shootout, Faulkner was shot and killed. Abu-Jamal was shot in the stomach. On December 16th, that's today, so this is what happened in 2018, in 1981, this day in 1981. On December 16th, Judge Lucretia Clemens in the Philadelphia Court of Commons will decide. Oh, I'm sorry, that's today. That's not a future or a past date. My apologies. Referring to receive a new trial. His attorneys, Judith Ritter, Samuel Spitzel, and Brett Grout, argued that if the jury had heard newly discovered evidence that was withheld from him and not presented at his murder, Abu-Jamal would not have been convicted. On October 26th, Clemens indicated her intent to deny Abu-Jamal's petition for a new trial, but still would make a final decision. So the decision after hearing from the parties in the case. So you hear that? She indicated her intent to deny this already. Prosecution failed to give defendant exonerating evidence in violation of Bradley versus Maryland. So they're talking about the same case that he cited in the video, and it goes further on to talk about Abu-Jamal's case and what he's up against. Now, as the article state, she's already indicated she's already where she's leaning. So, I mean, It is what it is. But the people who are freedom fighters, the people who are for free Mumia, you know, you never want to extinguish any last hope you may have for freeing your comrade, your loved one. So they're still holding out hope for a new trial. So yeah. All right. So got about another 15 minutes here. We're gonna close out and clip this here. If you're watching, Aaron, our editor, shout out to Aaron. Thank you for everything. And this will be one of the first ones we drop. So Mumia's new trial. This whole segment will be clipped, Aaron. So just so you know. Now let's go to Elon bans reporters. And we'll go back to Twitter. Elon bans tech reporters specifically, and get to the story. I got a video and an article, and I think it perfectly fits for the last. Let's retweet what Savvy sends here. Bookmarks is where I need to go. Bookmarks. Today's show. I should start doing this all the time. So we covered Jack up on the rail, AOC. Wow, there was a lot more AOC shit that I didn't even cover. But here's Common Dream. You can see the headline here. This is not part of this segment, but Common Dream. Biden urged to sign executive order guaranteeing railroad work basically. And Common Dream has that article out. Here, I forgot to show my tweet earlier, but this was my tweet. Not a single positive comment in the entire thread. This is why Ryan Grimm is out here playing Captain Save a Politician, helping to salvage the image of strikebreakers. Selling out rail workers is a point of no return. And I think we see that in the comments that she, in her thread that we covered in that stream. All right, so, I must have saved it in the regular bookmarks. My bad, because now you can departmentalize or compartmentalize your bookmarks now. But let's look and see what's the latest on Elon. I swear this is a saga. Now, let's look at this. This is the first thing. Okay. This actually goes with the story. Because this is how some people... This is the beginning of the tech being banned. I think this is the beginning part of the story. Maybe I made that too big. My apologies. 1 second here. I think that's the largest I can make it without going too large here. All right, so we're going to read that. We're going to start here. My apologies. We're going to start here. But in between segments, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you join our Substack. Also, this is our email. We're still looking for social media coordinator help, just to help do the postings, curate videos for TikTok, that type of thing. Right now, Apollo, aka Jay, does it for us, along with a new person who joined us last week. Her name is Junie. So we could use another person. If you're interested, give us a shout out or an email. Also looking for editors, people who can do graphics, that type of thing. Join our mailing list if you are looking for notifications from when we go live like this or any other unannounced or stream, actually not just unannounced. Also clips. If you need access to our Discord, this is also how you get access. It's 2 paths to get access to our Discord. Paying member on Patreon. Our free version is if you're a subscriber on our Substack. So we have both. Let's like the stream. We are currently sitting at 400. Let's push to 450, 50 more likes. There's several more people here that have not liked the stream yet. Now, let's get into this final story. I think that, this is the final story of the stream. Elon bans reporters. Let's read. Holy shit, Elon Musk just popped into a Twitter space chat with a bunch of journalists. He was called out by journalist Drew Harrell, who he banned for lying about posting links to his private information. Then he almost immediately after being pressed, then leaves almost immediately after being pressed. Here is the exchange. This has like over 100,000 likes here. Is that damn price? That fuckery is in there? So let's pause and let's listen to this whole thing here.
In the last few hours with a handful of journalists being banned.
Well, as I'm sure everyone who's been doxxed would agree, showing real-time information about somebody's location is inappropriate, and I think everyone on this call would not like that to be done to them. And there's not going to be any distinction in the future between journalists, so-called journalists, and regular people. Everyone's going to be treated the same. You're not special because you're a journalist. You're a Twitter. You're a citizen. No special treatment. You dox, you get suspended. End of story. Ban evasion, or trying to be clever about it. Like, oh, I posted a link to the real-time information. Is obviously that is obviously simply trying to evade the meaning. That is, there's no different than actually showing real-time information.
So when you're saying posting a link to it, I mean, some of the people like Drew and Ryan Mack from the New York Times who were banned were they were reporting on it in the course of sort of pretty normal journalistic endeavors. You consider that like a tricky attempt at ban evasion?
You show the link to the real-time information, ban evasion, obviously.
Drew, I don't think you were posting the real-time information, right?
I mean, you're suggesting that we're sharing your address, which is not true. And you're suggesting that we're posting. We never. I never posted your address.
You posted a link to the address.
We posted a link. In the course of reporting about Elon Jet, we posted links to Elon Jet, which are now not online and now banned on Twitter. And Twitter also, of course, marks even the Instagram and Mastodon accounts of Elon Jet as harmful. Using, we have to acknowledge, using the same exact link blocking technique that you have criticized as part of the Hunter Biden New York Post story in 2020. So what is different here and there?
No more acceptable for me. It's no more acceptable for me, for you, than it is for me. Same thing. So anyway.
So it's unacceptable what you're doing?
No. What you dox, you get suspended. End of story. That's it.
Elon, I have to ask, I mean, I think what everyone's wondering is it's highly unusual for journalists at the Washington Post and the New York Times to have their Twitter accounts suspended. And it just so happens that it's, the boss in charge, so, what's the deal there? Oh, I think Elon has left. I guess
that's
we'll
unfortunate
never know
because
the answer.
Yeah, I mean,
guess what the difference is there.
Man,
not
I
trying
had
to.
so many. I was raring to go, guys.
I know, I was too.
I was going to order a Cybertruck.
I just want to say, sorry, I don't want to browbeat him. And this is report.
What are those things called? That live sounds terrible. That sounds boring as fuck to be in there without Elon dropping in there to put that tidbit of information. But let's read this here. This was posted on the 15th. That's yesterday evening. Just in, Twitter has suspended half a dozen accounts of journalists from CNN, the New York Times, and other outlets who recently tweeted information about Elon Musk's jet. So let's click. Oops, I can't click on it. I forgot. I gotta take the link and slide it in here. So let's take the link and put it in here for the article. So Twitter suspends several journalists who shared information about Musk's jet. Press freedom advocates on Thursday criticized Twitter owner Elon Musk, who has suspended the accounts of several high-profile journalists who covered the billionaire and his chaotic leadership of the social media site. Musk took the highly unusual move of booting journalists from Twitter following a sudden change in policy about accounts that shared the travel of private jets using publicly available information. Musk tweeted that those who violated Twitter's new policy will be suspended for 7 days. Many of the journalists who were suspended Thursday night had tweeted or written about the rift between Musk and the jet tracking account. Reporters whose accounts were suspended included Donnie O'Sullivan of CNN, Ryan Mack of the New York Times, Drew Harrell of the Washington Post, Michael Lee of The Intercept, and journalist Aaron Rupert. In a post on Slack, Rupert wrote that he is unsure why he was suspended. He said he did tweet on Wednesday a link to Facebook page for the jet tracking account. Quote, perhaps that did it, Rupert wrote, but, quote, I still don't know what policy that could have possibly been violated. Regular people say this all the time. Now you're experiencing it. So yeah, now I do want to break here. We kind of got the foundational information, and then we're going to end with the video part. Of course, we have to go to a professional managerial class video. They're the ones who's covering this. This is class warfare for them. This Twitter fight, they've been fighting this Twitter thing all along. All the Twitter files is a nothing burger to them. So this is a class fight to them with Elon Musk. Oops, I went to Twitter instead of YouTube. Let's go to YouTube. And we're going to go, I believe it's a Humanist Report. Humanist Report has it. 1 second here. I think it's Humanist Report. Oops. Is it this one? Didn't really think I was going to. Yeah, here it goes. Okay. Now it's on here, but this is from. Oh God, I can't listen to that whole shit. Fuck that. This is a day ago, so I'm assuming this is it. So let's listen to this one. This is it. Now, the reason I didn't know because I didn't write down the name. And the title of this, Hypocrite Elon Musk was never serious about free speech. And it doesn't have the title specifically about what happened. So that's why I was still looking for it. But let's listen. This is not the closeout video, but this is the closing video for this segment. You got Sabby in 30 minutes. Sab show in 30 minutes. Let me share 1 second. It's taking a second to come down. All right, so now let me share. Instead of waiting, I'll just do it this way. So here is Humanist Report and their coverage on it. Short video.
You know, I'm the one person that is showing whether he's really going to do complete full free speech on Twitter. You know, I'm like the canary in the coal mine, as they call it. I've heard.
You just heard from 20-year-old Jack Sweeney, who runs the Twitter account that tracks the activity of Elon Musk's private jet. Now, here's what Elon Musk said about that account on November 6th. Quote, my commitment to free speech extends even to not banning the account following my plane, even though that is a direct personal safety risk. Fast forward to today, and that account, you guessed it, has now been banned. Now, prior to just outright banning that account, Elon Jet was shadow banned. Jack Sweeney explained this in a December 10th thread, which reads, "My Twitter files on the shadow banning and filtering of Elon Jet. Internal messages obtained by an anonymous Twitter employee explained to me..."
This is their Twitter files. I'm covering this so you can see the ridiculous. Just listen.
That on December 2nd, your account, Elon Jet, was visibly limited and restricted to a severe degree internally. He then shared a screenshot from Twitter's VP of Trust and Safety requesting heavy visibility filtering for the account. Now, at the time that I record this video, Jack Sweeney's account is also, you guessed it, now banned. So much for freedom of speech, right? Now, the Elon Jet account was not the only account that was shadow banned. I checked because you can actually check to see the status of your account. And there are a number of other accounts, predominantly on the left, that are indeed shadow banned. This includes the Serfs, which was ghost banned, along with the National Rational, David Pakman, Good Politic Guy, and even myself, until that is, it was reversed this morning for some reason. So this was never about freedom of speech for Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a socially awkward, lonely simpleton who knows that you can actually get the applause that you've been searching for but never had your entire life by pandering to the far right. He tweets out dumb shit, they clap like seals, and he gets a dopamine rush. It's really that simple. And the best part about this for Elon Musk is that he doesn't even have to be likable or creative.
AOC,
He just says buzzwords that he knows they'll like, and he gets the attention that he's been craving now for decades. For example, he tweeted out, "My pronouns are prosecute and Fauci," and received 1.2 million likes. Now, after he was viciously booed at Chappelle's show in San Francisco, he coped by tweeting, "The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters." And he received over 650,000 likes for that. But as Joshua...
We'll stop there because I want to play this other video. Let's get the link. That's before all of the suspensions. Trying to do this in chronological order if I can remember the video.
Elon Musk has suspended the accounts of several prominent liberal journalists and critics for sharing tracking coordinates on his private jet. A representative, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, among those who are going after Elon Musk's move. She tweeted this: "Take a beat and lay off the proto-fascism, I should say. Maybe try putting down your phone." Musk says the journalist violated the company's new policy against sharing real-time locations.
I'm sure everyone who's been doxxed and would agree, showing real-time information about somebody's location is inappropriate, and I think everyone on this call would not like that to be done to them. And there is not going to be any distinction in the future between journalists, so-called journalists, and regular people. Everyone's going to be treated the same.
Sean Duffy, Fox News contributor and former Republican congressman from Wisconsin. Great to see you today. First of all, your top-line thoughts on this.
Yeah, so first off, it's surprising that AOC is stepping into this debate, Harris, because she's been silent for years on the suppression of speech on Twitter, but also that still goes on Facebook and on Google. So if suppression of speech is fascism, why isn't she calling out, Instagram and Facebook and Google right now, who are obviously doing that to conservatives? So I think she's a hypocrite, number one. But I got to tell you, Harris, I'm torn on this. I don't have a good answer because, in instance one, I was a former politician. I don't want people to be doxxed. I don't want, protesters showing up where I'm having dinner with my family or showing up at my house. Or in Elon Musk's case,
why would you have protesters showing up? Unless you're doing shit that requires protesting. So I guess he does have a nuanced take on it, and so yeah, I'll say the second part after he finished talking.
And listen, he has a target on his back. I mean, he's exposing the greatest partnership between Twitter and the federal government.
You're trying to thread the needle that this is acceptable to censor journalists. And you're trying to use it by saying, I don't want people showing up to protesters showing up while you're having dinner up at your house. But then don't do things that have protesters show up. That's simple. So I think I'm going to end it there. There's not a lot for me, at least. I'm very not as interested in Elon Musk as a lot of people are in. I'm just not that interested in Elon Musk and the story. It seems a little manufactured to have this story. Him always in the news. It seems very manufactured to me. So it just, I'm covering this story. I covered the Twitter files. That wasn't really about him, but I covered the Twitter files, and I'm covering this story because you are banning journalists. And even though they're from corporate news outlets and they're likely to be terrible, maybe some of them are good, but they're likely to be terrible if they're working for any of these organizations. I still don't think they should be banned or suspended. But I also don't think that people like Garland Nixon should be suspended. Now, he was reinstated recently, but nobody should be suspended. Let people speak. If you don't like what they say, go somewhere else. Very simple. All right, I think I can end it there. Let's do some closing remarks, closing announcements, closing checks, because I do want to make sure I'm not missing any brand new stories that recently dropped. And you got Sabby in about 22 minutes. Can you see what I see? Let me make sure. Yeah. So what is that? That's Rome. No humans are chosen. I don't know about what book told you crap either. Okay, so you see what Rome tweeted there. Just seeing if there's any brand new stuff. So here is something new. Ajuma Baraka, how people continue to support the phonies continue to be a mystery to me. Bernie Sanders withdraw war resolution on Yemen. Why? Because his boss Biden told him to, and because he's a sheepdog, rest in power, Bruce Dixon. Now, she links an article here, presidential candidate Bernie Sanders sheepdogging for Hillary and the Democratic Party. So that's what she tweets out, and that's Kimberly. That's Margaret Kimberly, friend of the show. She's been on I think she's the guest we've had the most on our show. And then there's Sabby promoting her show. She's coming up in 20 minutes, Sabby Sab. So we're gonna give you a 20-minute break, so you can make sure you come back and see this the next show that's coming up on the RBN network. Hopefully you're liking the content. We're trying to deliver tons and tons of content for you with the clips and the live streams, so that you're never without content to view. So you never want to go and watch propaganda that could cloud your radicalization, doxing. That's what's trending. I wanted to see what was trending. Really nothing important. So let's go ahead and sign off here. And I think I have a closeout video. Pretty sure I do. Did I upload some new videos yesterday? Yeah, that's a new one, but that's not the one we're going to cover. We're going to cover, let me see, what is this one? I guess let's do this one. Do I want to cover this one? Nah. That has no educational value. And I want to leave you with some educational value. So let's leave you with this one here. How long is this? This is Kathleen Cleaver explains the connection between natural hair and self-love. So this will be our closeout. Make sure you like the video on your way out. I'll toss up your comments. So if you have any last minute comments, throw those in right now. You may see a Nick and CJ tomorrow. Check us out.
This brother here, myself, all of us were born with our hair like this, and we just wear it like this because it's natural, because the reason for it, you might say, is like a new awareness among Black people that their own natural appearance, physical appearance, is beautiful and it's pleasing to them. The women want to please men, and if men accept it as beautiful, then women will do it.
Well, I decided to go natural about a week ago. I felt it was a purpose. It was a special purpose. More so a meaning for me to be natural, because I'm involved right now with the Black Panthers. And I think appearance means a lot. Oh, I've been wearing it for about 3 years now, 3 or 4 years. But during that time, like I went back to the straightening comb. But like wearing my natural, it like shows within me. It gives me more pride within myself.
For so many, many years, we were told that only white people were beautiful. Only straight hair, light eyes, light skin was beautiful. And so black women would try everything they could, straighten their hair, lighten their skin to look as much like white women. And the black men would let it be known that they thought white women were beautiful. And they'd say they didn't want any ugly black woman with short hair. This whole thing. But this has changed because black people are aware now that their own appearance is beautiful, they're proud of it, and white people are aware of it too because white people now want natural wigs. They want wigs like this. Dig it? Isn't it beautiful? All right.